special intensive revision, the Mahagathbandhan alliance today intensified its attack on both the Election Commission as well as the centre. A bandh was declared across the state of Bihar with alliance leaders hitting the streets. Trains were stopped in 7 cities while 12 national highways were blocked. Roads were blocked by setting tires on fire. Transport was disrupted. In some areas where people tried to resist, the protesters even lay down on the road to forcibly stop the movement of traffic. On the streets of Patna, Rahul Gandhi was also a part of a roadshow alongside Tejashwi Yadav, CPI leader D. Raja and several other senior leaders of the alliance like Mukesh Sahni and leaders of the left. Rahul Gandhi once again took the opportunity to accuse the Election Commission and the BJP of voter fraud. In fact, he drew parallels with what happened in Maharashtra. Rahul Gandhi said that the election in Maharashtra was stolen by adding additional voters after the time for polling was over. And he said a similar attempt is being made in Bihar, but this time via the Election Commission. In fact, the Congress MP went so far as to say that now the Election Commission is behaving like nothing more than a B team of the BJP and it is acting like a leader of the RSS. Tejashwi Yadav also said that this was a sign that the NDA is losing. They are nervous and now they have no other option but to use the Election Commission in order to rig the polls, the same commission which he has now branded as the Godi Ayog. In response, the BJP gave it a political spin. They said that the whole nervousness about a revision of the voter rolls is not about the rights of people being taken away, but about illegals and infiltrators who have managed to find their way into the voter list slowly being weeded out.
मैं हिंदुस्तान की जनता को और बिहार की जनता को कह रहा हूं कि महाराष्ट्र का चुनाव चोरी किया गया था और जैसे महाराष्ट्र का चुनाव चोरी किया गया था वैसे ही बिहार का चुनाव चोरी करने की कोशिश की जा रही है। आज जो बिहार बंद कराया गया है, चुनाव आयोग नहीं, Godi Ayog हो गया।
Voter list is there. Every year, the voter list is updated. If people die, they remove. If new born, they are added. It's a continuing process. But intensive that electoral role, it never had it, and for that the way they have decided, that is totally against the democratic principle. So it is a conspiracy against the universal franchise voting rights. We cannot accept that.
सच्चाई नहीं है क्या कि बहुत बार चाहे वो रोहिंग्या हो कोई और हो, वो गलत तरीके से वोटर लिस्ट में अपना नाम घुसवा लेते हैं। वोटर लिस्ट को लेकर के रिवीजन होता है तो आपको क्या परेशानी है? जब कल सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सुनवाई होने वाली है तो आज ये कौन सा दबाव बनाया जा रहा है? क्या लोग चाहते हैं कि वोटर लिस्ट में वो लोग रहें जिनको नहीं रहना चाहिए?
जिनकी राजनीतिक दुकानें बिहार की जनता ने बंद की है, ऐसे दो नवाब जो नेगेटिविटी के, नकारात्मकता के, संविधान विरोध के परिचायक है, आज बिहार की सड़कों पर उतरे थे और फिर से एक बार ईसीआई पर निशाना था। दरअसल अपने परिवार को हार से बचाना था, बिहार के लिए बहाना बनाना था, इसीलिए ये सब फंसाना था। चुनाव जीतेंगे तब तो ठीक होगा ईवीएम और इलेक्शन कमीशन, चुनाव हारेंगे तब इलेक्शन कमीशन और ईवीएम पर सवाल।
In the middle of this political storm over the Bihar voter list revision, the Election Commission put out a cryptic post today quoting directly from the Article 326 of the Constitution. The post appears to be a subtle rebuttal to the opposition's charge of voter list manipulation. Yesterday, Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar had doubled down and asserted that accurate electoral rolls are inevitable for strengthening democracy. This, remember, comes on the back of the EC fact-checking opposition leaders like RJD's Tejashwi Yadav on allegations against the process. And that brings us to the big questions. Has the issue of voter list revision united the opposition? Is this show of strength on the streets of Bihar today an indication of what lies ahead as the elections in Bihar draw closer? Maharashtra to Bihar, because the example of Maharashtra was quoted in Bihar. Is it facts or fear-mongering that is taking place over the election process and all of these protests over the electoral roll revision? Is this about a concern for rights, or is this a concern about the vote bank? Kuntal Krishna, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us along with Priyanka Bharti, spokesperson of the RJD, Arshpreet Khadial, spokesperson of the Congress, and political analyst Karan Verma is also joining us. But let's start with the latest the figures which have been put out by the Election Commission, because regular updates are being given of how this entire process is going on. The latest data released today at 6 p.m. by the Election Commission shows that 57% of the enumeration forms have already been submitted in the first 15 days of the exercise. 16 more days are still left. So over 50% of the forms have already been submitted. 4.53 crore forms have been submitted out of 7.9 existing electors in the state. Before I start the debate, I want to request all of our guests to let's stick to what happened today. The allegations made, what the Election Commission has offered as an explanation, the politics that is happening around it, because on the issue of whether an Aadhaar is allowed or not, we have discussed that threadbare, and anyway, that's going to be before the Supreme Court tomorrow. So let me start by asking you, Kuntal Krishna, the kind of turnout we saw today, does that worry you? Because this wasn't just a show of unity, it was a show of strength. If there are so many people on the streets, does it show that there is a public sentiment against the electoral roll revision? Kuntal Krishna.
Padmaja, what kind of turnout you are talking about? There was no support for this chakka jam today. In fact, let me tell you, it was being forced by goons of RJD, and now it again refreshes the memory of Jungle Raj in Bihar. There is an incident, I would particularly quote for an incident from Darbhanga, where 2 ambulances were stuck. Ambulance drivers and attendants of the patient requested RJD, so-called RJD leaders to let them go. And you know what was the reply? That 90s is again coming and we will show you what happens. This was the reply. So there was no public support. It was forced by RJD goons. It was forced by goons of Pappu Yadav and Congress. And by 1:30, all the leaders were gone.
They are saying you're scared.
It was
that there was such a huge turnout that you are running scared.
There was no turnout. There was no turnout. This is of no concern to us.
Priyanka Bharti, no turnout.
Thing,
such a strong issue that you've picked up. You said all the people are going to be on the street. Kuntal Krishna says there was no turnout. There was no public support.
The videos on the screen says contrary to what Kuntal Krishna is saying. Apart from it, as I'm sticking to the topic, ECI said that by 8th July, 97% had received this enumeration form and 46% had filled and submitted. But Indian Express report claims that only 41% of the household have received the forms, among which is very shocking, is 37% of adults did not possess any of the documents which are required by the ECI, neither their names are on the voter list by 2003. But the question which remains is, when we were in power in Bihar, we conducted caste survey in Bihar. It took us around 8 to 10 months to conduct a caste survey. Now ECI, can ECI explain us how they will do it in 25 days? Along with it, when it was done last time, it took 2 years. When NRC was conducted in Assam, it took them 6 months for counting 3 crore people. How are you going to do it? And why not?
Mama, I had requested at the beginning that these are going to be questions that are already going to be put before the Supreme Court. The Election Commission in its affidavit will tell the Supreme Court how it plans to do so. They have put out the figures of how 57% of these forms have been submitted. But since you brought this up, Karan Verma, again the issue of this time is too short. Let me also, by the way, remind you that election dates have not been declared just as yet. So even if we assume that the tenure of the House, because it ends in November, the elections will happen in October, that gives us about 3 months still remaining for this entire exercise, but mistakes could creep in.
So Padmaja, I think this is hypocrisy gone berserk if you ask me. Because I'll give you an example, and it's a proper data point which should bust at least Congress's claim of the same. in 2023, when elections happened in Telangana, Asaduddin Owaisi's name came up in 2 electoral rolls, and it was the Congress party at that point which caused for a revision of the electoral rolls. And you will be surprised, Padmaja, 22 lakh voters were deleted from the Telangana polls. 22 lakh voters, 5.4 lakh only from Hyderabad. At that time, Congress welcomed it and said it's in the interest of fairness. And that too happened over a very short period of time in 2023. So they welcomed it when it suited them. They went on to win the election. Asaduddin Owaisi also went on to win his election, by the way, despite the revision. I mean, we can't be casting aspersions on everything that the Election Commission does. This should be a decorated institution. It's a shame that you are casting aspersions like this. And Rahul Gandhi, even today, when he repeated the Maharashtra lie, he said that first he said 70 lakh voters were added. Then he came down to 39 lakh voters. That was 4.65%. A similar jump happened in 2004 elections between the Assembly and the Lok Sabha. And the Congress party won that election. So when it suits you, you welcome revision. And when it doesn't suit you, you start casting aspersions. I don't think it behoves a responsible opposition to be going down that path. It's a dangerous route, but BJP should be scared because lies have a tendency of sticking. Congress did succeed in sticking the lie कि संविधान खतरे में है, the constitution will change, BJP will end reservation. That did stick around in the 2024 election. So BJP should be careful. They might just be successful in sticking this lie all over again.
Answer this. Ashpreet Khadial, very specific point has been raised by Karan Verma. When it happens in Hyderabad, after you ask for it, it is okay. Revision is okay. But it's not okay when it's happening in Bihar. Why?
See, number one, we can't be comparing apples to oranges. Number two, Padmaja, I request please give me a minute and a half uninterrupted. I'll answer all your questions and my fellow panelists as well. Number one, there is no answer to the question as to why is this only being done in one state.
It will be done in all states.
What about the other?
It has been said clearly that this is the starting. The election commissioner has said that it's going to happen in all states after this.
So why it just started from Bihar? Why has it not been done after
2003?
Why has it not been one? Padmaja, I did not interrupt the fellow.
Okay, finish your point, then we'll open up the debate. Yes.
Whatever the gentleman's name is, I did not interrupt him.
It's Karan Verma and Kuntal Krishna. Yes.
Right, perfect. Thank you. Number one, please don't interrupt me now. Let me complete. Number one, now they are saying it will be done in all the other states as well. If it was so important, if it was so urgent, it should have been done by now. It should have been done after the Lok Sabha elections of 2022, but it was not done. Now that the Bharatiya Janata Party, the NDA, realized that they are going to be losing this election miserably, that's why this has been formulated. So one, why just around the corner? Why only in Bihar? Why does it have to be the first state? The timing gives it all away. Number two, when it was last done in 2003, it was done in the entire country, not in one particular state. And number three, I want to tell the Bharatiya Janata Party, if the NDA was winning this election, they wouldn't even have considered this in the first place because there are many problems with this. Number one, the U-turn, the confusion that is there. First an advertisement comes, then it gets withdrawn. Number one. Number two, why? Then,
okay, Ashpreet, with the greatest of respect, we have discussed this threadbare. Now there is a new data point which has been mentioned for Hyderabad. Revision took place there. How is that apples and oranges? There was voter list revision. You asked for it. It took place. And by the way, despite that, Asaduddin Owaisi won. At that time, Asaduddin Owaisi said that this is being done because the Congress is nervous. And yet he won.
Well, is there any answer to this? That why is there a short timeline? Number one, from 24th of June to 25th of July, no answer to that. Number two, is there an answer to the complex procedures that are being put into motion? Because the underprivileged and the poor, they cannot, and the illiterate has nothing that they can do with this. And number three, the most important, Aadhaar cards and Mandega cards are not even going to be considered reportedly. Okay. Number four, the youth, the youth that was born after 1987 would have to, it would be even tougher for them because they would have to prove their parental citizenship. And number five, the exclusion, the 3 crore people that did not have their names featured in the 2003 list, they would have to go through tougher documentation process. 3 crore people. And now the Bharatiya Janata Party ought to please tell us this thing, that the citizenship clause, the fears that are there with the citizenship clause, EROs can now flag suspected foreign nationals, which can really be misused, especially in Simanchal. And then
I'm so glad you brought this up. Why did you bring up Simhanchal in particular? Why did you bring up Simhanchal in particular? If a clause has to be misused, first of all, you are talking about a prospective misuse of a clause.
A lot of people, there's voice coming from the ground.
Now,
people are saying our addresses are being messed up. People are saying our address was something and Shamshan Ghat was put in there. And then there's another person's address which has been left.
But see, Ashpreet Khadiyal, because you brought up Simhanchal, it's interesting because that's what the BJP is saying. That the real worry of the Congress and the RJD is that people who have falsely entered the voter list in Simhanchal, who they are calling infiltrators, are going to be weeded out.
What of the illiterate? What of the underprivileged? What of the illiterate? What are the people who can't?
Ashpreet Khadiyal, are you listening to my question?
These are complex and are the questions only going to be posed to the opposition? There are going to be no questions posed to the government.
I literally started by asking questions to the BJP, but can you please ask a follow-up question? It cannot be a monologue.
There's a very important question.
You brought up Simhanchal. Now, interestingly, the BJP today also brought up Simhanchal, and they brought it up in the context of that your main worry, and you just underlined that worry, that your voters in the Muslim majority Simhanchal area, some of whom may be illegals, will be weeded out.
Are the Aadhaar cards being considered? I just have one question, and you can pose me as many questions as you want. Are the Aadhaar cards being considered for this?
Ashpreet Khadiyal, we have literally discussed this day before yesterday, and like I said, we are going to get an answer from the Supreme Court tomorrow. Now, either we can have a focused debate or we can keep yelling over each other.
The Bharatiya Janata Party has been tom-tomming about the Aadhaar cards. Now we only ask them, are the Aadhaar cards being considered or are they not being considered?
We have been asking this since the end of June.
No, this is the first time
when the notification happened. We can't keep going round in circles. Okay, let's pause for a second. I am not going to go down that Aadhaar card route for the simple reason that this is a point which is before the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court tomorrow takes up your appeal and makes Aadhaar card the 12th document and adds more documents, more power to you. But I don't think we can keep going round in circles and waste more time.
Withdrawn? Why was the advertisement withdrawn? Is there any answer to that?
Can I please show you some data? Now, why is there the mention of Simhanchal again and again? Because the reason is that you've got roughly about 18% Muslims in Bihar, but in Simhanchal, the Muslim population is almost double that. But, and let's put that data up on the screen, there are certain districts within Bihar where the decadal growth has been much higher than even Bihar itself. In Bihar, the decadal growth between 2001 and 2011 has been about 25%. In Purnia, it has been about 29%. In Katihar, it's been 30%. In Araria, it's been 30%. In Kishanganj, it has been almost 31%. And that is why, Priyanka Bharti, again and again it is being said that this shows there are some people who are falsely in the voter list. They will be taken out, and that is why you are worried about it.
Padmajaji, were these people whom you are calling infiltrators not in the voter list in 2024 Lok Sabha elections? Why didn't then the government or the ECI think even about this process? And if these infiltrators voted that time, how did the PM become a normal PM? I mean to say is, how could he be valid when the voters who have earlier voted for him in 2024 were not valid voters? Because ECI itself said that after 2003, whoever is registered in the voter list will not be considered registered. We have been asking the same question because, you know, in Bihar, people, you see, what is the literacy rate? The most worst state in India, if you talk about literacy rate, if you talk about, in fact, income, everywhere, Bihar is on the last stage. So what I am saying is that people in Bihar are oppressed, suppressed class people, and they are concerned about being disenfranchised from their voting rights. And that is the thing which makes them human. Because if you can't vote, you are animal. You are not human.
Okay, specific point. Kuntal Krishna, one, when they talk about normal poor people being disenfranchised, you bring in the infiltrator angle, basically giving it a communal spin. And two, if these infiltrators were there in the 2024 Lok Sabha election electoral roll, why did you not complain then? Why are you complaining now? Why did you not revise it before the Lok Sabha elections?
Padmaja, I'll just start with two facts. One, to everyone's shock, especially to your shock, and this might shock my friends from Rajad and Congress, two districts are there in Bihar, Kishanganj and Araria, which has accounted for 105 and 103% of Aadhaar. In Kishanganj, 105% Aadhaar is there. In Araria, 103% Aadhaar is there. Another fact, in last 10 days in Kishanganj, 2,70,000 applications for proof of resident has been registered. 2,70,000. Total population of Kishanganj is around 10 lakhs. So these are two facts which explains a lot of things. Lot of things. Now, this is not BJP which has brought in SIR. It is Election Commission. Till today, we were not defending Election Commission. But today we are defending Election Commission because we feel, and not only us, even RJD, when the
What
whole
of the operation
started,
notice
when
is?
the
No,
whole
sir,
process
answer the
started,
specific
Just
question.
please,
You are saying that we
I'm
are hoping
answering
all the
that.
infiltrators are going to be removed.
RJD appointed,
Did these
RJD
infiltrators
appointed
vote in the Lok Sabha election?
56,000
This
PLAs.
shocking statistic that you have given, did these infiltrators, did these fake voters, did these so-called, people who have snuck into our voter list, did they vote in the Lok Sabha election?
Padmajaji, EC has started a process to weed them out. And it is not only us. Even Rashtriya Janata Dal has appointed 56,000 booth level agents to comply to this process. It is not only BJP, it is all the political parties.
Priyanka
And when
Bharti,
EC has
better
started
late
it,
than never.
is RJD willing that these infiltrators, these fake voters should remain in India? If someone has come from Bangladesh and anyhow with the help
Answer,
of
Priyanka
RJD or
Bharti, then
Congress or
Karan Verma.
anyone, if he or she is able to get a fake voter I card, is RJD willing that he or she, that fake voter should remain in India?
Priyanka Bharti.
All Kuntal Krishna and his statements are assuring that PM himself is incapable, the most incapable PM, because if our PM cannot stop infiltrators from coming in India, then the PM is incapable.
Priyanka
That
ji,
is
now it is time
that
for
is
you
what
to
BJP
help weed out
spokesperson is
these
saying. And the
infiltrators.
secondly, it won't answer your question,
Priyanka ji,
Padmajaji.
now it is
Did
time
these
for you to
infiltrators
help.
vote for PM Modi and
Don't
Modi became
defend
the
these
Prime Minister of
Bangladeshis
India?
and Rohingyas.
You are
Don't
not
defend these Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. We will not let this happen.
You're not answering the question. You're not even thinking about the oppressed, underprivileged people. How will they procure these documents when 37% of people don't have these documents? Indian Express data confirms that.
But Priyanka Bharti, if you are again talking about people not being able to submit documents, 57% of the people have found their documents and have submitted the forms.
No. That is what Election Commission is saying. Only 47% people have received enumeration
You don't believe in Election Commission.
But you keep going viral on Twitter as well, where Election Commission staff can be heard saying that forms abhi sirf form jama kar lo, tumhe form baantna nahi hai. You know why was that done? Because tomorrow is the hearing. They want to just collect data and show the figures.
No. So I think.
What is?
Okay, so there are very clear guidelines. There are very clear guidelines, and they are on our screen right now about how many people need to submit documents, how and when. There are 7.90 crore voters in Bihar. There are people who already have their names in the 2003 voter list. That's 4.96 crores. These people only need to fill a form. They do not need to submit any documents. Now, point number 2. Then there are the number of people who are left is 2.94 crores. Of this, if there are some people whose parents' name is there in the 2003 voter list, they also don't have to submit any documents. They just have to submit the forms. Of the people left who do not have their names or their parents' names in the 2003 list, they have to submit one of the 11 documents. So this entire thing of all the poor people in Bihar are not going to have forms, all the poor people don't need to submit their documents. Only the ones whose names or their parents' names are not there in 2003 list have to submit the documents along with the forms. That's as far as the facts are concerned. But the loopholes that Priyanka Bharti is pointing out again and again, Karan Verma, and the communalization of this entire row which is happening. Why has this Rohingya Bangladeshi angle been brought in? Is this politics over a very serious issue? Trying to scaremonger and say, oh, there are, these Bangladeshis who are going to start voting. They voted in 2024 also, no?
It's a fact. It's a fact they voted in 2024, and BJP honestly should have done a much better job, much quicker, much earlier to weed this problem out. And I think BJP would accept that. It's been 11 years. They should have done better. But it is a reality. And what Kuntalji said, I'll just add to it. The Aadhaar coverage, Padmaja, it's unbelievable. In Kishanganj, 105.16%. In Katihar, it's 101.92%. In Purnia, it is 100.97%. So Aadhaar cannot be the basis possibly. And one more fact, Padmaja, in all these areas, it's the opposition MLAs that have won. It's the opposition that has won. So it's their vote bank. It's a reality. But what has the BJP done to make sure that doesn't exist? You must understand, Padmaja, if you remember back in the Jharkhand elections, the Congress, the AICC Jharkhand chief, Ghulam Ahmed Mir, is on record saying we'll give gas cylinders even to the illegals. So illegals happen to be their vote bank. So this is a fact they've accepted. If they get their way in, they would have illegal voters as one of the category when we talk about votes and their classification. So Congress, of course, for Congress and RJD, it hurts them when there is regularization. And this data point is a symptom of that.
Arshpreet Khadial, respond.
It's sorry state of affairs. Look who's talking. The Bharatiya Janata Party is giving us lectures. The very party who's known for operational notices for Goa, Maharashtra, Manipur, AP, MP, who did not even want the CJ to be included after the Supreme Court's order to have him included. You made a law and through that you bypassed the order of the Supreme Court, you undermined the Supreme Court. So we do not want lectures from you. The fact of the matter is...
What am I saying? What is he talking?
Now hold your horses. Hold your horses.
No,
if you do not understand it, if you do not understand it, and go back and rewind the debate, you'll start understanding.
At least come to the point.
The fact of the matter is...
You have got faith on Supreme Court or not?
That this
Sir, you have got faith on Supreme Court or not? Tomorrow is the urgent hearing.
I have just 1 minute left. If you can answer specific to the point, there is a problem. Maybe the BJP did not act with alacrity to it. But if it is happening now, does that worry you? Arshpreet Khadial, that specific question has been asked of you.
The fact of the matter is, a couple of questions were posed. None of them have been answered. One, why only Bihar? And if they say others will also come into the picture, why start from Bihar only? For election before this. You could have done it in 22, 23, 21,
Okay, I'm sorry I have to interrupt and thank all of you because the Prime Minister speaking right now, we have to cut across to him in just a while. But thanks very much. Tomorrow, very, very important day in the Supreme Court. Sorry to have cut you off. Thanks for joining all gentlemen. Priyanka Bharti, thanks for watching.
मेरा नया कुकी होल्डर कप एक तेरे लिए मंगाऊं? नहीं। मेरा नया क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल, मेरे नए म्यूजिक गॉगल्स मंगाओ क्या? मेरा नया रेन प्रोटेक्टर।
मेरी नई गाड़ी
नाइस
कप होल्डर है, कुकी भी रख सकते हैं, क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल है, म्यूजिक भी।
सेविंग्स की विद्या तो खुद से सीखे। कुछ बड़ा बनाना है तो पहले बचाओ। फेडरल बैंक से रिश्ता बनाओ।
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News 9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News 9's pick of the week. Don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News 9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
This is India's #1 news network and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
An Indian Air Force fighter jet on a training mission crashed in Rajasthan's Churu district. The Indian Air Force has confirmed that both the pilots on the aircraft succumbed to their injuries. In a statement, the IAF said that they deeply regret the loss of lives and stand firmly with the bereaved families in this time of grief. A court of inquiry has been constituted to ascertain the cause of the accident. A twin-seater Jaguar trainer aircraft of the Indian Air Force crashing in Rajasthan during a routine training mission. It had taken off from the Suratgarh air base and was carrying 2 pilots on board. According to the Indian Air Force, the pilots reported a technical malfunction mid-flight and ejected in time, successfully steering the jet away from populated areas and the airfield to minimize potential damage. While investigations are underway, the crash has renewed focus on the aging fleet of Jaguars in the Indian Air Force. Let's take a closer look at this aircraft. The Jaguar is a twin-engine ground attack aircraft known for its deep penetration strike capabilities. The Jaguar was inducted into the Indian Air Force in 1979. India remains the only country still operating the Jaguar today, with over 120 aircraft spread across 6 Indian Air Force squadrons. However, the phase out of the Jaguar fleet is on the horizon. The process is expected to begin around the year 2030, starting with the older Darren 1 and Darren 2 variants, which have not been upgraded to modern standards. The more advanced Darren 3 upgraded Jaguars will continue to serve until a suitable replacement is inducted.
Oh, and belt Terry. Oh, and belt.
Rescue teams are still working to pull out a truck that fell into the Mahisagar River after a section of the Gambhira Bridge collapsed in Gujarat's Vadodara district early on Wednesday morning. So far, 12 people have died and 9 others have been taken to nearby hospitals with serious injuries. The incident took place at around 7:30 a.m. in the morning when a truck, a van and a car were crossing the bridge. A part of the structure suddenly